Supreme Court bu fufufufu ye no wokira ena wose court no sa atena se nenei odi adansefo no nkrata no akọ nti wokira ye behwe se wansan besi no US ni hu de we abrewa nkruma
ya de ani kira da ma ngonso asode nti nipa duo no nwotwe so wansan mask bi approach fo akire won
Ye ile sama odo bi editie be Kumase asantema ntema akwafa crossover ne enen nsem efiri Kumase ba so nya asem na aku ene obi de hye ofuri amanfo be ka bom na fe wodi amayen yemfa enase manyum ko on mada manti biribia ye Kumase na ye kofa asantema ntem nkomo Bright Senior High School e wo kofuru de kokrantumi school akwanya wo homa nkwada se wono ebeko na wo kwatwa won sohwe Choice Roofing Company Limited twa nchanse awodo bebre na fe wo to nchanse omo ma carpenter for ko board so free of charge mawa Kala Supreme Plus 1 20-year warranty bata home and we be nkura bata for kura Kumase ahina makokoben wono ben yas nkra my 11 cemetery hwe ni mo aho and na chese adwumanity ewo high sense everyday prices for everyday people a TV fridge air condition gas cooker blender and appliances be na onya no fie me electrical appliances no bra high sense ya tete ye ma no so pa sasa me ba for the freshman capsules eyema benma ni fie kwa ni mo no peso gina na so sabrante fresh lady capsules yema oba watenka wo fom a wonte hwe and na fresh cool capsules so etuko kwase Kasiebo nankasa no e dependable ebafo a wono de Adom malakio ene e 3D uya dwuma akrabia no abre betu ase ten Adom natural tonic eti wanum ubedidi ame na fe so ho sisi won so umogya so ekakogina ba bia wo se gina pepepe na Adom natural man Mr. de picking crime me so wo matcha bobi be ma na je points what na kaya na fe so no Adom natural man capsules no enso so ho no a e betre de achetia atoto chima wo sisi mu anti ama be ma na enyina so ye nyina Adom lady care capsules ene Mr. Boama siesie mom hote omutwa se ubebu nsa bibia besa na kama amu nsa mpa ho asisi ho so yefiri woni akọ 21st clinic wonom na sciatica wonom ye experts na so abene mu sciatica yi eye enumpemu yawa efiri usisi oprachi ede ekọ na mrumu kọ na ase mesere wo abomoden na ekọ 21st clinic ewo dome market wo abrosan kesi ya heavy do choba wo mu na ho ena wo mo ewo time about Mr. eye bibiduro kan se Dr. Bodi se malaria ena etete wo akomo bomoden ne kopebi wo so a ya na afiefie taja wo so no wo so bomoden ne per time about Mr. Beboa papa edino TIME time herbal mixture having this exercise spirit in the core and sukun tuntum tentem kra achese wunya bia wo de pitipito dem on tuntum kra en momfa ho na kapaso abe ha be na ntefred dai ya ne core no so ehie mpungu sie bebre so ye adwuma pa heaven and out talk ya bisase DBS Industries na etwa Kala Supreme Plus 1 nchansi nyina eno na etia popa efeso Kala open ye twama na 20-year warranty so bata ho Spinters papa ya restaurant nchen ho no ankra ono madwuma ni ti wo bia wo bia wo from wo ba bondan so the amount total at the Chelsea club Abama driver for pacho uya driver ni uwo ka nko aya to fa nwo total na ukoso na uka no so de adwuma se taxi anasa trotro no o de also pay total card eno na oje na de to fa nwo abribia ma discount afi achede ni akrade bebre ho no nsusuru do ho hihye mu a emfasodie bebre be free so ama MTN everywhere you go ukita phone na MTN chip na da so download ma MTN app no na fi hia se fa dedwuma na be hu so mfaso bebre agbebe herbal hospital ye de mona soap ni mona cream aba ene nkuni esemene ni ubedware asra ama wede na to so atu hu pampa nyina na Franco Trading Enterprise ama ye phone papa ne ho akade Grace Homeopathic Clinic akachi abola stop ne wo ene onya beduru ho a oyade no ebegya na kwan homeopathic kwan so sɛ meku adaroma ene de Kasiebo ebre o ya yeso no na sei ampofo Gemini
bafo
Beba chokan wo Facebook sisi nene ensema sigana abakosem kase paasi na enkomodie so ebata ho ne ho mfoni no ye de nyina ebroba Facebook Adom 106.3 FM oba no ahye na ofoforo so atimi ahwe na watie ensempa ye de esom onwumre yi afa yenhye ensem na se ye hyase ne ye hyase ede afiri odupo kase a watutuo oman yesebofo a atu amanamono flight lieutenant Jerry John Rollins afeidie penino enya akwa dadin omemu ya na brempo yi akwa gya no kwa fe a chese 37 military hospital wonomo asie kase ya wonomo asie ede ama asrafo wo memu mpenimfo ye ntutu ewie ye na fe ode amu no esi hyen so ede etu krom efa enkra baby bebre de ni amanfo hunu se opani no na ye tata obremponsa na de na ye wose yetwini nya ampa yetwini nya no na ne amanyofo mu akuku dam obi oka bie wom okase mpunu ahye bia e o me amanyosem bia kopia yiye nase na abra ye ni abema bedna guasantie siedu ene mrahwedwamfo bia wono mo ba yiye nase bi edi nkomo no mrahwedwa ni ogina mu amanfo no fton ye ro asamolo kugyeto ablakwa ene di tu bia sesenka o meyimu amanyofo yebesua bibi edi afiri wampenda da Rollins na bra bo ho a ankebebo papa sanse ene ohwe ni page na paso di adanse fa papa no ho nyina wo bia onyi twin ya do obi asama kanse papa no na onyi obi odo no ankasa no ho ne man ena na ho hia no enti se pese menkum nya menkum afuru se wo de ne nsa benkum ni nifa ebefo moman ejapade se brato de na nya de na akoma so nti ganafo amanyofo a yetu ahusi ose ebeso manfo a ebewi akire yebe ko brewo ne yeso mpafe nam no yensisa se suban no.
Rollins was larger than life, very enigmatic. People like him come once in a very long time. Instead of looking for one person to replace him, I would rather that all of us learn lessons about his life. We should learn from his legacy, especially as young politicians. Let us learn to look out for the ordinary Ghanaian in our policies, in our programs, in our lifestyle, in what we do. Let the masses, let the poor, let the vulnerable be at the center. They should be our priority. That is what President Rollins stood for. He was a selfless leader. He didn't come for himself. He is one of few African leaders who up to now nobody has found any foreign bank account. No foreign bank account anywhere. One of the few African leaders who, as we speak, as a military ruler, did not promote himself. Very few, very few. Probably apart from President Gaddafi, I don't know any African leader. All of them promoted themselves. He did not. He dedicated himself. He was very modest. I recall President Mahama writing to him that he wants to name the FPSO after him. He declined. And he said that he doesn't want any monument named after him. President Akufo-Addo wrote to him to name UDS after him because UDS was established by the prize money that he won. He declined, and he made profound statements that he would prefer to be remembered in the hearts of men than by physical monuments.
Yaman Penda da Jerry Rollins more than Sidina Otis Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa honorable a member of parliament the moment for one of tongue Odina dance yes I say Obiano no Okaso de Omeya Padibikra Nidi Tus was the Debbie Memperisa and ye Asra form penimfoa a year dom a bibrima from Henna Obia Onya Domnia or the Brano crowd was ready no pejam or no man no post and so no flight lieutenant and any crown na Kuzibra or the Ewi Chasso Ubia not over but Tabis in so then yes Sabi who pre na Mashibia ni ojina mama for Kankwe Central Yera Patrick Yabuama one name Mashibia ni ojina mama Buakwa South Samuel Atachia Ebo Mampenda da Abaso papa se omei ye kebmam kebie ne yesa ho kwan te ho nami ye ne nsa no adwuma ne fifire na amana ba we wiese
Ghana constitution I practicing and I'm the son I practicing constitution and I'm a members of parliament. A lot of state institutions are practicing democracy. It's very significant. You're born in another Fourth Republic. You're betting my ass sleep and I am Ghana. Yeah, my man also. We have many reservations, one or two, but all in all, we know why you can't chase somebody. See, I'm going to find a crazy.
They catch the Ghana man say, awesome here. Apart from say about so yamano, ya kanyina enya ehuni faso. So now you be now ya Kasiebo, and now you be your kitwa. So about small man on the other cano. And now I am media. Now I'm a small man. Now what they who ahantan and papasam and otan and adebaya and woman enti yen kai say papa ebe so man 90 years or someone no more for so the billionaire say ya say na ye toa o man so eye amamu so ye toa so acha so obie kwan say yen call democratic rule enti ni nyina no yen kai de ma no enfri abem nko awo eye from ahensam kora bi wo hosa ahe fa na ba bi ni oni pa no kora no so ohwe hospital card amarka o si pe bibi ma no enti eye de a enyo no na obetumi awie ana ono start ye nyina yen kan ye humom se saa de we edi o ma nya na yen ko back ehwe kwan ye be siesie se baby a ha o ma no eye kata social ne proye no nyina ye ma homre so se ye ma saa de medi so
Yera Samuel Atachia Ebuakwa South Mrashebedwani ena afi Patrick Yabuama ena wote omonka no Mrashebedwani odwene ma omanfo wo Aguna East Queenstown Mami Poku Asoya ede abasobo kese pa ne nase ne mama mpani dada ne ye na kunadu Adma Rollins se wono obeya manyosem na wono se ne hwan wono ma ne suso mu krokra no a enne obabeye obi a wodi manfo anim se Mrashebedwani na mpacho wa anya kwanya anhwe TV anase wanhwe bra ye stream ye de ye ma mpani dada Adma Rollins ekọ eye amusieye ewo military cemetery no mpacho ba Facebook sisi e na bra mu ne dashan su ni padom a egi ni sire ne ene yoyoyo egi ni tatade ne kono ehun video ni ade nyina eguo yentie mame Krista Poku Asoya
enye enije dem mame because me politics measure say as Krista mame Poku Asoya MP for Aguna East Rollins Neyre Mrs. Rollins onona oma me hunyansa ne ho akwanche na metum ekakanka me ba me nim ti Rollins is ne de si won for minua Rollins no a shining example my but nipa da seni ankasa no appreciate ade aye wo he was so firm on making sure say onipa wo yade no kwaro no nkoten na ye wo yade na ono na this probity and accountability na ade ba yo ye di agro but still ye wo a pinchi kakra ma ye hu say ye wo leader bia o insist only on the right thing as much as owu ye ya no nipa de every day wo nyina na wo ben wo days but still yeah because we cannot let go but yes Renyankopon say on fani see na niam a wa kire ye no me ma me Poku ade bebre o makoma so because nara simu ba me constituency e be bue hospital anu okwanya akon baby a doctor se ba wo beda oboa ma brigadier no me nsa wo see nara simu bai obebu anu or the no shall be too by they spend the day with us into me they make kind of pass why a lot for me political life into no yema no ko say na baby a okono nyame hwe ne so
eti adansidie ene abasobode omampani dada Adma Rollins wagibia gudi widie mpa ne de ya wokonsia do mpacho ukokohwe ebra ye de nam eye enkramonten so ene ede no efa kofa eye osu eborure mu akofa 37 military hospital edi koko wi obema kampansan ye de ne kwakọ wura eye military cemetery ho no eso eni so ka kire video no guso etwagu na eduru ba bi na ayarehọ said your man for her pass a quabrane bemampa nanye ye twe no saa na kwakwakwakwasi amana mu no na enyasem keto bra ni si amana mu nyina video no pacho oba Facebook sisi abetumi ahwe bafo entro
ade na kaswa ka ho a ekogina mu ewo Facebook na hwe video na etwagu ne no aye ne na epe mampani dada JJ Rollins krabra enya sem ketu akra na awerho ani sudi Ghana fo atwa bi papa na bra o manfo ebo dwa ewo Black Star Square na ye dija ye papa ye nana ye wofa ye bibia ekwan kra no enmakuo ene ankrakra dodo no anu so na wodi adanse pa efa kane mampani JJ Rollins ho na adwumakuo ba ko a wodi mu akotene papa ansampo na wo bawura eye amanyosemu ono eye military na tese oye soja ni kra na tumi ekuta no a ansa na wo bawura amanyosemu ono na eye flight lieutenant na ekuta no enuti asoja fo nso anyi won ho amfiri mu kra dwumadi akọ so na nyina no asoja fo no ekuta mu se twe edi dwuma no ama what's opani na nwanyam ho se ampa opani no edi soja na ne nyina nso no efiri de efire na soja fo edi kanema pani JJ Rollins ho adanse no ene wakasa hwe soja dwuma ndo ye bi ma papa wo ba ene obibi a friend say amendment of armed forces regulation on discipline opani besakra mu ema sakrapa ebaye sanso ena na owotima no wayem sisi no abadaye ema obibia enti soja dwuma de oboaye wono asoso ensaso na nam ema 64 infantry regiment no ebaye afenso kane na bo soja dwuma mu a anya ye kura no di vie du nwotwe pepepe se kopensi ne asu wati ko so anyi o unyi o na akọ obaye no wo hwe dandan ne mamu ama ekokoduru emfie aduonunum eno ati kura ansa na nansia no akwakodu emfie aduasa enti opani no de sojafo odi ne ho adanse a no wodi ne ho adanse pa ifi se oye bi ma wo.
Most of the current serving personnel of the Ghana Armed Forces never met Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings whilst he was in active service. They only know him from open sources as a revolutionary and a Democrat who has left an indelible mark on the Ghana Armed Forces and the nation. One little known fact is the amendment of the Armed Forces Regulations on Discipline, in which the trial by a sole commanding officer was replaced by the current disciplinary board. This was implemented by the late president and was informed by his empathy towards his subordinates and his sense of fairness. He was also the brain behind the formation of the 64 Infantry Regiment and the extension of 7 years from 18 to 25 years for soldiers until the recent further extension to 30 years. He was once both the Chief of the Defense Staff and the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, and was honorably released from the service on 14 September 1992. Your Excellency, your sudden departure has robbed the Ghana Armed Forces, the nation, and indeed Africa, of a treasured statesman, compatriot, nationalist, and a Pan-Africanist. Your personality accommodated a wide oeuvre, a quintessential lover of flying, a man with an unflappable revolutionary zeal, and an unabashed democrat. You were brilliant, witty with a gift of eloquence, sarcasm, and humor, which came to you without effort or deliberation, thereby drawing crowds to yourself. You have shaped our national destiny, and you can now rest in peace.
Asoja for dance pa o difa kan mampani JJ Rollins onye ba bi ko ho e bi na ya tiri no sane wa manso ho na osanto aso ana obobobo enwuma hodo modem bo a wodi wura soja adwuma ne omman Ghana oboa ma enne asomdue pepepe ye ene atentene ne ya adwuma no de o si soja adwuma no de opani no dabi ni hono ma obedi din afiri won mo nkrata mu.
His career as an Air Force officer began at the Air Force Base Takoradi as a squadron pilot. Over time, he distinguished himself as a fighter pilot, demonstrating his exceptional skills in aerobatics. In addition to flying duties, he was also the base adjutant. From June to December 1970, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was posted to the Communications Squadron of the Air Force Base Accra as a squadron pilot. Subsequently, he was reposted to the number 1 squadron of the Air Force Base Takoradi from December 1970 to January 1971. His passion for precision and adherence to flying procedures, coupled with his dexterity at flying, earned him an appointment with the renowned number 4 Squadron from 1971 to June 1979. He simply loved his job as a pilot. His situational awareness and rare skills with cockpit management and the art of flying were exceptional. He was also known for his love for other machines, especially motorbikes. Whilst in active service, He accepted extra regimental assignments willingly and always executed them to the required standards. He was very firm, fair, and straightforward on his principles, especially when it came to dealing with his subordinates.
Kariman Pani JJ Rollins dear, na opatentini ompen kontompo ana ompesisie bibi bi obeye bia no omanukredi ebamu eno na odi adwuma enne Ganafo etwa no asu ebia no
Yanto Kasiebo no so na yegusua we mampenda da JJ Rollins na yiyo ho ekame se eyifefe abremponye a omamu no aye no no nifa baabi nipa bi anti wonde enkanka eye ni krom eye jelukope a no no anlo traditional area wo Framantemu ensemo atwetwefo pani a local funeral planning committee na yesa bedweko no mote senka ni krom mpatam wo no so be ntotoye ade afa na yi ho eye agbotadua kumasa wodi to dwane se nukure ni nyamianim omampenda da Rollins na nkasa no se de ye ka no se dipa wu no wani anaso wo ano a ankobebie na no aka kire Ganafo se mepe se yesie mukrom jelukope anka nani baji papa ne kre ni baji ba bi wo bia sinki besi no so amasa wo se abusua no nukure ni esanse ntotoye na aban ne mpanimfo eye no wonom ho ankomu bebre nti no kame ye se wonsi anemu ankasa wo yie no anhye da ankosere wo se ko wakirem aban entotoye a wo ye no ba bi kura ho no ma yanto sanfa from a utumi se menasepo ene ya ugi abam.
The womb that gave birth to him was buried in his hometown, Yalukope. He brought the body himself and even confided in some people that would have loved to be buried in Yalukope. So when they say this, we just didn't want to argue them. Then later on, they just put over the public domain that the burial will take place on the 23rd. That was when the Agboti and then the Samako families wrote to the presidency through their lawyer, and the president directed that the family should resolve all differences to give them a firm date. So after going through all this, they met, and then we invited them to Angloga. When they came, we fined them for defying Anglo traditional authority by going ahead with things that we asked them not to do. And we are trying to resolve the place of burial, but they were adamant. Now, there was no formal invitation to Anglo Traditional Council for any of the funeral meetings. So you felt slighted. You felt you were ignored.
Eti omsu se yetwa omunkonko nifa omsu se yi omafrim omsu se yatwa omasinchen omode se kron na yi on twetwefo edema local funeral planning committee wanlo eye agbutadua kumasa na otene nka no na owie na ode to so se ye mampani dada Rollins se hu ne so ye mampani dada anaso hu so srani kukudam ne ho keka ho ni nyina no wonu si ne hene ho ewo mu kuro mu nti anya bibi kura no ankene mu no nke mfamra ho na omanfo wo ho enhwe na ni achi na amamre se fata wonu nyen so amasa ekosi se adwumadi so no ne obi edi san komo no.
Yeah, you are all aware we have our cultural practices as well as government practices. Our states are governed on cultural values.
Ekosi saying on Asempa FM.
And so whenever one wants to undermine the other one, the one which is undermined have two options, either to retaliate or just to keep quiet. And we decided to keep quiet. When a funeral occurs in Anglo culture, the head of the family is informed. After that, there is a general meeting at which the plan for the funeral is organized before they meet the public for the information. We are aware the former head of state was once president of this country. Despite that, we have also installed him as a chief. And you know, you have entry and exit right. When you are made a chief, some rites we perform on you, some rituals, you go through them.
Ekosi saying on Asempa FM.
And also, they use some symbols on you.
Wey ene ensem a twetwefo pani de man local funeral planning committee agbutadua wode etudwa
Yamfree ayidwonum ne yamfree ani enkyere ensem foforo maja esese yede ensem foforo eka ho na yesukura yegyae hem enkramanta mu prosi adwuma no ena de nsem bia babetudwa se wie ya prosi ne branch bia ne din ede Blessing Stephen o Nigeria no wadi fie aduasa enwotwe no de ekro no fitaa yi kro no de atuo ne nkranta ne ade gusu de onum yo papa na Spiters Road ha ya no etu akasa ma branch ne yakasa de kyerese watimpani forward do ana emrantia banu so a wono nkwa no bono no so banu wakyere wonom na pretifo ekyere mu sa branch de ekro no bono de wabere ye papa na be se mfie mienu ni no wadi na tata apeno wo fa ha na branch de si ha wo fa ha no so de pia wo fa ha no so pia hanom na Blessing Stephen wa Nigeria ni a kyerɛ sɛ wakɔ fiase kura ba na oni de korɔ no bɔ de wɔte gyae wa bi ne mu ye papa apresifo ni gyina so sɛ wɔne enipa ba se bi ne tai ɛbɔ korɔ no papa na ba bi ɔyɛ wɔn adwuma na ɛkwamuka sɛ anadwo no ne mranche da kokko gyina mu akwantufoɔ no wadwo ho sika dwo ne ma ɔde ntuo gyina so bank nso de wabɔ korɔ no bi papa ana afɛ wɔn bullion van ne atwi sika yi wa ya de papa wa bullion ban pa wadwo no sika de nyasɛm ketwa wɔkyerɛ mu ɛsɛ bullion van bia na anu ya nkrofo bi agi won musika adanse nyankomasu be adanse to ba bi wa santimantamu be se na otumi enu die no emrantie na kobɔ saa akoro no ana fe manso mem mankase filling station na anu die no so si waka ho bi takwa Prisia highway kwa no so watata ho papa ana fe na anu die no so epu emu ogomu apoten wo se abrantie kro ya won na edi sa adwuma no na de etuo akasa no ana fe nipa bi on so ka ho ene Jesse Osas won wadi mfie aduonu nsia ono so ye Nigeria ni ana ye Godwin Heto ono so di mfie aduonu nsia won so eye receptionist ewo hotel bi ewo enasa guest house bi ewo nkran han na hon mo na won mo kokoro no bona no ababa bete ensese de sa nipa banu nso akokodi approachfo akati a wo ye hwehwemu na babia mra no de eda no wo de ato ko so akire won no enema onya ho bie no eye pistol NFA 4 rounds ammunition ni bi ekuta wa di free abranch yi ehu na enema hodo bebre nso na sei branch na etu akasa mo ahwere ne kwande wo de no akwakose approachfo mo tera ewo enkran hanom na ogu won hwehwem so na won so aka no so no wo do efa emra kwan so sei na approachfo no ekyerɛkyerɛ mu.
The regional police down a suspected highway robber and arrested 2 others in an operation on the Spintex Road this morning. The deceased, whose name the police know as Blessing Stephen, who is about 38 years old, died from gunshot wounds he sustained in an operation at a guest house on the Spintex Road. The deceased, Blessing Stephen, an ex-convict and a notorious armed robber who usually operates among a gang of 6, has been involved in series of highway robberies, bank robberies, and attacks on bullion vans, including the recent bullion van robbery and killing of a policeman at Adanse Nyankumesu in the Ashanti region. He was also fingered in another highway robbery on the Manso Imim Road. Again, the Mankesim filling station, the Takwa Pristia Highway, and a number of them. Police arrested again one Jesse Osas, who is 26 years and believed to be his accomplice, and another Godwin Heto, age 26 years, the receptionist at the guest house, where the deceased and his accomplice were lodging. The 2 are in police custody, assisting police in investigation.
Na prosi enkramanta mu prosi adwuma no wonmo kasama for DSP efiatengwa ne yati se o kyerɛkyerɛ mu de akoso anamo anase kro no bo a akoso abrabo abrantie yi ene ne mfefo no akwan mu no ɛna de bi tudwa o sese don de otuo akasa no banu a wakyere won no so no oguso ɛyɛ nhwehwemu
Yentu Kasiebo no so na nyame adma okira court betena se yeba na yeba behwe nsem obetime pie wo court no na enwekwa akasie bi wono da mana Kasiebo yede ebrem pacho obanum so a aya no ma week wine aweki ensu papa Kasapreko Company Limited me se company bia no akuru ma onum ya no ne a omo mfidie che Kasaprekofo etuomu nsuo na ho te papa wa ho nsuo na tum se ho twa package no correct na sa nsuo no so onum a apomdi a obenya no enya asem keto akora de ye ni gsem ne se ene wonnom eye awake mineral water one for life policy nti no why adoye e de amobi o akoma yare okolebu ati ase nti awake no nom ne keke woto a wa ultimi say wabu nsu agu redie no manya hode na fe wasa ya adoye aka ho enapa foods enso so enapa mackerel ne sardine ena afi so no enapa chocolate drink ne enapa baked beans enapa soy sauce ni nyina enapa tuna ise chese nampatu na pa ne wodi yesti wa nasa anwamo se pa ne hima na sandwich bi na salad na akro no okodwa so atade pa what you say eno ne enapa nuane no etimi bia woto bia bizaze enapa de ho ana ansa ne bia beto bi fufuru bia ka ma wato aka ho wotitie de anboni ma yafuru de botwene ma asanti to papa preko total e de Trust Club ba to draft tasi ba afo ese bosu yawie bia so Trust Club no mu nko de a adrafo be ahasa yema mu free fuo total nkomo pa ho eya na ebu ana na dwunu kesere nye bibia obeto fa wona dada na ese fagu card so no total card no e na yes officer a chesa krade emfasode insurance cover bibia no wo taxi driver na se total driver wo shemu bie enti total service station bia ben obia oboro a wo se ampofo jesi ana adom se adepa bi wo hantimi mo ba be shembi tie MTN everywhere you go MTN for so gusu che data ene woto data na use data ni wia e be sama reward anase mo achede enti wo dial star 141 hasha MTN for ene won komodie terms and conditions apply na nemmom ayakai se wo de eye my MTN app bi go phone so na abribia se wo de edi nkomo anase wo de edidwuma mumu no ne ade obetimi de aye having insecticide spray in the course of bodjuma ekum tontom ne ntefre ne mo ankasa bia ne omumu no ene ewunya kwa ne bi so a entumu sie bebre ehwam nanso adwuma ebeye no ebebro wadwen ene onti ase so dependable eba home ene de Adom Malakio aba malaria duro tatashe malaria nko ade a Adom Malakio ena yewo Adom natural tonic eno so eti wonum ehuru ni paduanum yi mo fi sanfuru mo nti moja nkroso atia bo se abona mabe edi amawo Adom natural man Mr. me se pekin kran uni match a emobi sanse no wonum ya na rentin na fra moja nti e ba sa ja eni wo Adom natural man capsule so de ato chima osisi enu ni odua de mu nyina na betrete no na ahoden asaba Adom lady care capsule so bo ma won mo nsabuo mu won mo hu ni die mu so won ho betwa ni nyina ya Adom lady care capsule no ene ne Mr. ne ye sa adwuma no na ye beko akohwe eye Agbeve Herbal Hospital awoso tum last stop ene mo na soap ni mo na cream odi abadwa so a eboa Ghana de hye se wedie na ni nsansa pimples ana se ntwom amfere wase na utintu obadwam aya na ohwe ahwe se di utwa kwa mu so boa ohwe obi hwewa ni nyina no emoa eti na wape eye mo na soap na de adware na de mo na cream na sra na yi sa ha ni nyina nkura ni tiro kakarore ni nsa kise ya na yese nsan bi afre ni ntus nya de eye mo na cream ni bi sra kwada ni nyina ebekọ what you say Franco Trading Enterprise to phone papa ne ho akade laptops printers machines e wa ha fa free Franco ene wo de home theater ka ho na afi mu pe fridge ni TV ankasa TV your Franco TV wo so a je say your friends internet connect me connect TV no to internet so na wo nam YouTube ne ho kekeka ho a Franco TV ne de high tech na esan papa Franco titine ne ma so bronyan si ya kasebo na da so gina ba bi gina nti ya hwe mo kira kwan what you say mo amutu ni ma ton ne mo amoton no ba kono phone bia brand bia de abaso bia ko Franco Trading Enterprise Dr. Frank watete so nti obesa chewade kura se epi so download Franco Trading app no ebi efegu phone so that mi aboa wo ma bre bia wo hunu de wo shop nim na wo to ade so a wato ne papa preko time herbal mixture ebi duro kan wonu mu ato a wontimi ne die wo obi a wo adwuma kakra bia no abre eto da bia ne etridi ekọ na aba opeso to ase time herbal mixture TIMA DBS Industries ene twa chance papa Kala Supreme Plus 1 ene omeya fa na nyina baabi a obeduru a hoye estate na se hoye baabi a utumi se amamfo asisi ada papa no be na DBS age ho aboso enchansen nyumakuo na doso enso wutwem ya fi wani ye DBS ye ma 20 year warranty wato enchansen ye 20 years bibia for to bia ba ho abeboya mane umpe we na pede Kala Link Plus no papa kai se yadwumaniti e was Spenters papa restaurant nchen ho ene wukokuma se tamale sunyane takrade baabi a yenyuma panti yaheta ewo amama nyina so Grace Homeopathic Clinic ewo akachi abola stop ene yesi service na mission from God for humanity the woman say ye the homeopathy ene ye duro ntimpa ne ni nuro no so food supplement ne wo mfidi a ye de behwe nipaduanum emojanum entinim ehun se fort bi oba bia eno no ye nye okapre aduro na abeto a na otwa bi kakra medina akachi abola stop eho ena grace mu party clinic ye wo wono adama ne de Kasiebo ebre wanche be kokuma sanansa na no yemre na yemehwe enei wukọ eye Omen Court Kasiebo Supreme Court a omampenda da Rollins dampem na ye hwe kwan be fa so kwakokora no na ye mampenda da John Dramani Mahama ne mra nimfo enso so e court omani abretintim omon krata se de court hye wo mo no nti omampeni da na nkasa de ne no oyi na se na mra nimfo so ye no mo so ye de court wa hye mo so omnye obeka se na watwetwa mu na court hye se wo mo adansidie fo maso mo de beda court no a wo fa mu krata so fa ho nsem nyina mra court no enso NDC amanyuko no mpanimfo anamre nimfo no entini anya ne sa ni nyina nse omso wonsimfo bia wo se court no hwe na wodi ansa na no atimi aboa mo hu adanse kura wo so mo de ba na no court tenase me kire no na court wu afu papa eno nti court no sa ama wono mo emere kakra se wonhwe na de o hye wo mo no wonhwe na wonyi emfemfiri abedna gu asante ase nti wo fa he a che se enya asem ketwa na sansemi ene sankomoyi ena akwaduru sa fedie NDC amanyuko no mpanimfo womo atu anamon se kwambi aso no womo behwe na wono atinti on krata enti ne de etie ne se makotintim sakrata no yenua bema eye kwadwo mensa abrampa a wono ene to nkra free court election petition 2020 eho erebre kwadwo memo akwaba boko de yada twere mpo nyankopon ase na ansa na obekasa no nyentie de Supreme Court no ka enra na woka kire NDC lawyers no
Rule 69C4B of the Supreme Court as amended by CI 99, which reads, quote, the court may A. Dismiss the petition where the petitioner fails to file the processes regarding the petition within the specified time, or B. Hear and determine the petition where the respondent failed to file their answers or the processes regarding their answer within the specified time. Order 32, Rule 7A, Sub 3 of the High Court Civil Procedure Amendment Rules 2004 CI 87, which governs trials in the High Court, has provisions as follows. Where a party has failed to comply with any of the directions given at a case management conference or pre-trial review or both, the judge may make any of the following orders. A. Strike out the action if the non-complying party is a plaintiff. B. Strike out the defense and counterclaim, as the case may be if the non-complying party is a defendant. C. Order any party to pay cost. Or D. Make any the appropriate order. End of quote. The petitioner is again directed to file his witness statement on the matters raised in his petition and other pleadings, and his response to the preliminary objections by close of the day on Wednesday, the 27th of January 2021, failing which this court will proceed to invoke the sanctions imposed on this court by the rules of court. The petition is thus adjourned to Thursday, the 28th of January 2021 for hearing.
Eti otemwa for penny Chief Justice Nantes Wakasa Justice eni yebua na neni abre papa se enne anka debe ko na wie na nka NDC amanyuko ne hia de oso mo ye de anka china court be de papa so still se ni china court be de kodwo
na se court de be de ya me adu china court be de
na kodwo wo hwe sesei die na mehwe na chese adansefo no omo yesei adansefo dodo se na eye omapenda da
petition na ozo ko da o ka chere court there o adansefo benu 5 na nde court share de nde wan kwa anka o china be de to the American nde adanside wo zo ko no nipa benu na wo zo ko nti out of 5 na wo kan there o petition no 2 witnesses na what me file nde
enti na chese the court no kan de one my
court say one file one witness but one kasa o ka chere court there wo witnesses 5 impa 5 na obedi adanse ama at nda de wo do kwa no impa benu adansefo benu na wo do kwa instead of 5 no nti wo za ko ba ehwe statement na ese enu katia ne dinu ma o se there as a threat bi wo de to court na yim no se court grant na issue one answer questions bi a na o pede answers questions bi na opede we bisa one that obotum abade wasanze adansofo bi baba ka ho nti ehwe yim de say court grantor no no anhwa nipa benu na waza akọ no ebi baba ka ho na wedru 5 na wakana na nda no ye a respondent no a first and second respondent no also what the bibi ma Supreme Court there and what shall some na petition or that na njina do bia
John Bontu
ntina mamu ndi asam no po na wo hwa na ombontu go na nso o the wafa one opposition that there the first and second respondent work no ono so nyina do ndi anim sanda mo work no ehwe mu a asam wo mtu
nti odo no nso ho anu yie no so ko
so anu yie wada ko nti court nka ombo mo wada ko ngu na wan hwa na winzi asam na wan hwa bebia ana na etiri bada nti owura pesa white Johnson na sie dum katia
me na ya say rappers are white say the house number ni ade nyina ba bi ote won kran ha hyem na oye senior lecturer University of Ghana ne na Yera Johnson Asidu Nketia so ba bi ote on so kire so general secretary man DC na chese nti sisi nipa mienu no pesa white na Johnson Asidu Nketia
so mi dai on the Johnson Asidu Nketia do bi enyim do ye NDC general secretary nti oya dance yiko na owura pesa white so 2020 abana ya train say echo issue one head officer owura pesa white na owura jambet
ana no mo gina mu as agent
ewo issue ho
nti anasa na MC for yanka na MC for
nti owura pesa white na also represent that angle one two no na ko na say yenhwe nsam na wazo ko nimu kakra na yenso say owura pesa white na say mo reka from paragraph 8 Otra Damasam, not there. Say, Asher and Samana, Oko do Hana, Sedam within County Tugano, electoral commissioner, Osman, on a million a day. And Sambia now we raise the 1,000, one corner petitioner, I am John Dramani Mahama there. Don't they wait for one or declare results? Otra there is a one wakano, one fine year, and they are in there and Kajimen Sabafran. And some no 1,000 trap. Osman one dank one coca one wendra or declare election. Now Uncle Ufa on father make in Wyan Brown. Now so on my bia. Now already sending Katiaso. What can send the Centra Usu there? Oya dancing over to Jinana as some now a petition of that corner. That's a paragraph 26. Petition. Witness statement in my also there. Also there easy. Oh yeah, bias. What's on there? Akufo do. Oh yeah, second respondent no. Ne ye. Ebushani electoral commission.
Asemo try no.
Paragraph 26.
Adansi na okodi okoto no.
Paragraph 26. Obi awo bibia otumu hwe na.
Ewo witness statement ni.
Paragraph 26.
Ose yisi mere kind of brofo kakra bi mame na.
The chairperson of first respondent and the first respondent are also not required under the member. So should be now. The chairperson of the first respondent, Mrs. Jane Aduke Benson, allowed herself to be biased and her prejudice in favor of second respondent, who appointed her in August 2018, and with whose wife, Mrs. Jane Benson, has a close familiar relationship. And thus, at all material times, in the conduct of a responsibility, biased by prejudice in favor of second respondent against the petition. And also can some now, but that continue. I mean, I don't want to them now. Why they to know? I mean, I'm watching as I know what you are doing. Well, court 9:30 or Supreme Court.
Hi, Kojo, my name was in fancy. Na diake biere beto aso yebekọ kumase na ansa na no ba fofa we ni twim ntam ne enko
yare we twam ana ye kọ damanwo asoden COVID-19 ma no homene so no mpanifo de sesa gu akwan so se yenhwe ye ho yie yense mask yem titi yentam no mu ne ade na sese ba bia pretifo dina pa ye obi a obesi abonten no bomodin asem mask no wo be se damanwo pretifo atiase abonten so ne commander ne di anim ena wone wonse mask no watire binum ne nipa duo no enwotwe no watire won yenkwati
regional district commanders na manesa obi start enforce no for report right that man grashas no bore asase salaga sola bupe obi asase across the whole region and I register the ever can say driver for no set a good example no akasa enshade there as we go for a car what person no so asase no management so nipa ni bia obi to advice no so on pay binto asana wadwane next ska said the bear you are the phone no I really be on family side if fra or tima or no senior say you said the rubber form there obia Ghana ha and prison form
Damangwa presifuwa Savana Mantam the energy was some den I says nipa do no nwotwe and watch one wo
sabe ye kokumase ye abema obidisi ofo yamanfo atenase ne no so coronavirus nkomo a ene firi kumase e ba Bright Senior High School akwanya ho form 1 form 2 form 3 mpacho fabaro nko Zenith Bank Absa and afei GCB ubenya omo forms ni bi Choice Roofing Company Limited in Chance papa Color Supreme Plus 1 ene di mo hene wokwa ye bebo dan no so ache free abra wato Chance no my 11 cemetery hwe mo nkanka so akwa no so na be home high sense everyday prices for everyday people TV o fridge o air conditioner gas cooker blender pacho bora high sense shop biamu niema omtiti so brunya no ebo nda so gina ho a enya asem keto asasa meba e freshman capsules fresh cold capsules fresh lady capsules mesrewo say no ye tatahwe uhu ni package no krabo say yes we mean business obidi she so moy na enko
and as a Masoma was sentimental in Kukuma, so COVID-19 Gusu Jema, Jayese, your granny 1 point inches and you and you Gusu ATM. Now, a year COVID-19 at Chesaja Bible for Crania, Mr. Janquadadi, and Kawana in whom John Kumu, Aya Yamre, Jamusiana, Wusuyan, COVID-19, Bibrinua, Edward Mokom. Now, the Senate, the Obepima sentimental. I'm on a walk on for not Chabaya, Sabian, never to your Chemzua via Tremia. Oh, a via Tremina, Crania became Kuno Equabe, you Jesse, woman to record him. After the Omas of 2021, say as Mama, Sina COVID-19 as if a man on Mr. Quademu, Yanu, and what you do, you near my corner party. A quaby pa, Napanica, or no, and a diet child health directorate. And no Professor Samson, dear to Jack Edison, we bra. One way and send you no immaterial legislature, you can comment, so this is similar to Jesse Hadjane, and one quadrac of 19 Primpatias to Mu, and was sentimental.
And the Anquala COVID, there this year, said you buy and they say. Last year, you know, the whole last year, in Anquala 14 and we are COVID because we are seeing an Anquala. But within 10 days, I said you buy and any part 9. Anquala 9, I want infected about Kurambo with 11 days. And you know, it may actually be in conformity with the general trend that you who are adults and most see, Yariana are more aggressive. More people are getting infected, and they're also very sick. They're becoming sicker and sicker. And 9 within 2 weeks, and 9 it knew how we are going to end. Yabom Pai say, Obia, Momadiana, Omu, and obey all the protocols. Yabam said a bear, you bet me, I'll limit the spread of this. I just say, they overheard, that's how you could sue. I just said to me, and Yapala, not COVID, only COVID come back into me, because the whole place. I choke with COVID. Dear Salam for my young modern now. Your mask is and share and say, young Hori and Sarin, the Kahunano, Yeniso. The one in the power me of 14 years.
And you what you say, COVID-19 and Penifon and a form with dear, and you take a break what in your body, one Gassan with Yano, you get to Messan and Gassanum, or my overstructure confirm not by a Sabio, or look up your pediatric a year center, and come from one, a Jom Senebe, a Jabber, and I'm afraid when your baby pad and a beyond Sotmaquan canum, and COVID-19 patients near Jom to listen near Maconia Ria. So, baby, Yarnes a COVID-19, I'm sure I confirm not by a Sabianum, or my Yabia Fanat, 20 at the Sedino de Tumpen, you find him saying, or more enough from COVID-19 treatment center, and no dear, a bedroom of Franco visa near Banner dear, and he's so soon.
Umbetima create space for children who test positive to COVID. Said the so young man, you must a bit well. We can send them there. Now, Yankifu only severe cases here, but some space to maneuver. I just answer about your overwhelm. It means that we have no option than to manage cases in places here. Other cases are COVID because we can't turn people down. And you know, space is real constraint, and I'll be very happy if the regional director. In fact, we have actually discussed with hospital management that they must arrange a meeting with the regional director to look at the children's situation, space for children who are COVID positive, because yeah, very limited. The space is very limited.
entino ora samson antwene de sansu mu atubia chem se woni mpanifo aka se hwani mu se wo mu nyina adwube ko benkrom na fe wo pay ye nkwara treatment center ekobasa bufra bi nya covid-19 ye de ne beba ho na fe bibia so atumi konka because sina ne ma ekwa no wa hwe ne se wo ba yare na se wo so de ne kokomfa no che ba ya sabia be ko no yes covid-19 patients kwada no ma je bo so wa che so nya bebi kura mfa ne nkom ene me no so bi man prempram no ka se de ono kro ye a e de atubia chem se konfa no che ba ya sabia na fe ne regional health directorate no wo ma ko ma dwena pam ho mo hwe na fe treatment center o ma ti bi e de ma ye mofra a wo benya covid-19 e wa santimantemu a ente ye wa dwene se bi abofra enya covid-19 ni bidi a e de tete break na fi sina zifa ma ne ho me so afi a hyase 2 weeks ni enkwada ma akoma konkron prempren o menya covid-19 wa santimantemu a also me kwara wase de kona bobo ne din ne be sia be ma kwa ma me crossover me fi santimantemu en krokuma sinhira 104.5 medina nyina e be sia diam je so eye obi deshie ofori amanfuna so to me cajolate over to you.
Afei mamenka o se pepsodent eno na de atwitwiri yese a na utwitwiri osia nopa na atwitwiri osia nwumra eboa papa ma ose no eche nso bi wa wanyi pa so be na ne si nyina aguranum wadi neni eno nti aya bomode fa pepsodent twitwiri ose anopa ene anwumre na enige sema romo ne se onya twitwiri osia anopa ne anwumra ebeyi ose ho keka wa nyina ma yade bia ma onum na bibia wonum beda ho mo atede bitimi aka asumsim abonsire tese bibia be kokama pepsodent eye papa na ya na ma hu sampa sidie bia no ho ehia wati ase wono madama na yede Kasiebo ebrem yede besi na yede si aye koyi ya fa na se ma aboafo Adom Kasiebo dem ne eye kwa mkule no na afi abedengu asante asiedu a wono mo eta yachi ma yede eye Kasiebo ba ya ye so mo so no na say ampofo jemene
radio amu
yede mo asi sports pay 2 beto aso na se eni dia yeso china eni bi wa na o china baba mamu why ye baba mamu